Hey, what's good guys? This is Chris from WearTesters.com. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we're taking a look at these guys right here. This is AND1's upcoming Attack 2.0. Now the AND1 2.0 is obviously the second iteration of their original Attack model. There are three versions of the original Attack. There is a low top, there's a low top with a knitted upper or engineered mesh upper, and then there was also a mid-top version as well. These guys right here again are the 2.0, so they kind of tweak some things. They don't do a complete overhaul, but they have fixed some things that were kind of like complaints on the last model. So the first thing that stayed is the traction. It was probably its best attribute on the original Attack. These guys right here feel much of the same. I put these on the worst court that I play on, and at that time they felt very tacky, and this is like everybody was slipping, man. Even in shoes that have great traction, that court just sucks, dude. Like they need to really refinish that thing. So I am excited to try these guys out, mostly because this is a translucent rubber, whereas the first version I played in was actually gum rubber, and gum rubber is just awesome. It just gives you really great traction almost all the time. And for this one to feature translucent rubber and it still like felt like it was gripping that really crappy court, I think that that's going to be something that is exciting for me, at least, to be like, yo, at least the traction's great, you know what I'm saying? So I hope that this guy right here plays just as good, if not better, than the first version that I played in. Now the midsole is EVA, so it's pretty basic foam. It's what, you know, like Nike would consider Phylon. However, inside of there is what they call Harmonix RX, and that's a new rendition of their cushion from way back in the day. So like this shoe right here, the Tai Chi, actually just featured EVA, so nothing like Harmonix. Harmonix back in the day was an air system. Now the Harmonix system on the new model is a lot different. It's the same exact stuff that they featured on the first AND1 Attack. Very comfortable cushion in my opinion. It's an eTPU footbed. So inside of the EVA acts as a carrier, and then inside of the footbed there's like a carved out section. So just as an example, this is the original Jumpman Pro midsole. This is a EVA or Phylon carrier, and then inside of that it's carved out to place the cushion system in. Now Nike will do it with whatever cushion system they feel like using. This case is obviously Zoom Air, but they've done it with, you know, air sole units and all that stuff. The Air Jordan 11 has a full length Air unit, not a Zoom Air unit. Then there's other shoes like some of the ones back here, like the Eddie Jones shoes and stuff like that, where there's going to be an air sole unit in the heel and then a Zoom Air unit in the forefoot, but not a full length unit and stuff like that. So it'll be carved out in different sections. This guy right here, the Attack 2.0, has this setup, and then inside of here, instead of air, it's an eTPU. So very similar to Boost cushion. Actually, eTPU is Boost cushion. It's just that Boost is like a trademark name for Adidas and all that stuff. And Adidas didn't create that cushion, by the way. They actually just kind of like have the rights to use that type of cushion, or at least they did, from the company that actually created it, which was BASF. It's a chemical company and all that stuff. They happen to make some great foam compound somehow. And BASF is right now like kind of like getting their money's worth, because they are able to tweak the compound slightly, and then any other brand is able to use it as long as it doesn't infringe upon the Adidas Boost model. So when I was saying in a different video, remember how I was saying that someone was telling me that Boost is dead? And the reason being is that anybody now can use eTPU because they've found that loophole inside of Adidas's kind of like trademark and patent on Boost itself. So they didn't protect themselves like what Nike will do. When Nike trademarked or patented Flyknit, the entire process, they trademarked everything and patented everything, so nobody can do exactly what Nike does, which is insane, because you would think like, oh, it's just knit, you know, like anybody can do knit. But the process to making prime knit has to be drastically different and not infringe upon any of the things that they trademarked and copyrighted and patented with Nike, and same with any other brand that uses a knit and all that stuff. So it's a real crazy thing. When Nike does things, they make sure that everything is done properly. Adidas, unfortunately, when it comes to this eTPU cushion, did not. So now that's why you're seeing all kinds of brands with different variations of eTPUs, and it's because they're just literally variations. They're tweaking a percent here, percent there, and it's not technically infringing upon the Boost copyright and patents. How's that for being nerdy with tech specs? But anyways, the way that these feel, it's awesome. Now the upper is where we see a lot of the changes. Obviously, visually, they're different from the 1.0. The 1.0 kind of featured, I wouldn't say old school materials, but they're old school materials. At least the one that I used, it was the fuse base and all that stuff. So we're talking about like not super old school, more like 2011, so a number of years ago. And then the second version of that shoe featured an engineered mesh upper, so that's more in line with today's standards. This guy right here is a kind of a mixture of both. We have the kind of synthetic toe, synthetic rear. They've done this really cool application to it where it's kind of like, I don't know, what would you call this?
Vinyl.
you consider this vinyl? Like a record?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it feels like that. I like that color. What do they call that? It's like a pearl coat on a car, you know?
Taking everything I have.
Oh, that you wanted to talk about later? It's also got an iridescent look. And then the reason why that it features these graphics and this kind of like overall look is because the designer of the shoe was inspired by this image right here that he actually drew up. It's of a fighter jet, and then when he applied colors to it, he was just messing around and this is what he came up with. So it's pretty sweet. We will see this stuff on different renditions. They've also got different patterns and materials and things like that. Actually, I'm not even, well, we will leave that, but I'm gonna leave it at that. But they do have some cool stuff coming for this model, which I'm excited to see. And then the mid panel of the shoe is built very much like today's shoes. So the first thing is that it's a one-piece upper, different than the last one, which had an actual tongue. I do prefer, personally, the tongue thing over this, unless this fits really nicely. But with this, you have just a greater room for error between foot shapes, because nobody's foot shape is identical. So while this might fit me, it might not fit you, or if this fits you, it might not fit me, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully this works out. However, one of the things that they definitely did work on is the overall last, which is the foot shape that the shoe or the upper is built around. And on the original model, it was a suffocating fit. Very tight, especially right in the toes. It was like pushing your toes down. It felt great once you broke it in, if you like that type of snug fit, but a lot of people were having to go up half a size, and when they did that, they'd have some heel slip. This guy right here, they fixed that, so you got a little bit more volume above the toe. Me personally, I feel like it's a little bit too much volume, but it's not as close to the foot as the last ones. So I think that more people are going to like this fit versus the last one. And speaking of fit, they do fit true to size for anybody wondering. So whatever you normally wear, that's what I would go with. These are my true size in pretty much every brand, unless we're talking about Adidas, and then who knows. And the materials themselves, again, are modern. So we have ripstop, everything. It's on everything nowadays, even on AND1s. These are not your Walmart AND1s, but these are, you know, the new ones. So we got a little bit of ripstop right there. It allows you to kind of see the tech underneath it, or the design. So those nylon strands that are the webbing lace system, you can see that underneath, which is a cool touch, I will say. If you're gonna use a see-through material, at least make it like not show just your socks, you know what I mean? And then the top of the material is kind of like a stretchy fabric. So I think that that's gonna work really well to accommodate a lot of those foot shapes. And then the back panel is a neoprene. The inside is heavily sculpted and padded in the heel, which I think is great. And then for anybody wondering what this like Las Vegas thing is about, it's for the Summer League.
I wonder if they had a thing set up when Jalen was there. Or no, wait, he's not going to Vegas.
He was in LA.
I wonder, because the Vegas one's coming up next week.
Yeah, but that's a high school tournament.
It's not the same?
No, these are grown men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these are NBA players. So this is different. This is way different. Okay, we're not talking about kids. It's not a kids tournament. This is a man's tournament.
Have you seen him?
Jalen's a shout out to Jalen. He's a friend of ours, or a family friend of ours. But Jalen is 6'4". He needs to work on his handles, but he's got a shot. It's a bummer because the way that the game is played in high school with the sizing is different, because a lot of people my size play, you know, high school basketball and stuff. So we're technically the guards, even though Jalen is a NBA sized guard. And so the problem with that, in my opinion, is that when you have an NBA sized guard in high school, he's unfortunately their big man. And so that's the style of game that he knows, that's the way that he plays. And so I think that that's a disservice to kids that size, because unless they're working on those skills outside of the high school, they enter, you know, college and then possibly the league kind of unequipped with certain skills, you know what I mean? Like nowadays it's mostly shooting, but they teach them to shoot when they get to the NBA, which I think is like a weird thing. But anyways, back to these guys. I don't know when they're releasing. I do know that they are releasing. I don't know if this colorway is releasing. Somebody asked me that on Instagram and I'm not sure. I actually don't know the retail price either. I know that the other ones were like around $80, $90, something like that. So they weren't super expensive, and they are capable of being played with indoors and outdoors. So AND1 is originally a street ball brand, so everything is durable. This is probably the highest quality besides this time frame, like their original days and stuff, but this is probably the highest quality shoe that they've made in a really long time. But that pretty much takes care of these guys. Stay tuned for a performance review. We are backed up right now, so be patient. I am getting things done. The Donovan Mitchell shoe is coming. Stay tuned for all of that stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your support, and until next time, guys, have a good one. What do you think about these though visually? Because I know that like you're a general consumer.
I am a general consumer.
But you don't buy basketball shoes.
I do not.
But you've held plenty of them because of what we do and stuff. So like, do these feel? Because a lot of rightfully so, you know, AND1 was sold a number of years ago, and then that person that bought it decided to bring the brand into Walmart. And I think that the move overall had good intentions, bring good quality footwear to those that maybe can't afford it at a big box store.
Yes.
So bring it to a warehouse style retailer. I understand the move in that sense, but a lot of like sneaker snobs and stuff, which I understand their perspective too, which is like you'll get made fun of for wearing a Payless Walmart brand shoe, even though this is technically it was an established brand already, but it tarnished the brand's reputation. And then on top of that, they started really cheapening out on the shoes, where we weren't even getting foam midsoles. It was literally like rubber.
Oh.
Yeah, who wants to play in that? Like nobody. So seeing that you've held a bunch of shoes from Jordan, Nike, etc., 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 to now holding these, do these feel any different to you? Like as just a regular person, do these feel like oh, this feels like a cheap like shoe that you'd see on a hanger?
No,
at Walmart?
actually, do you want to know what shoe this reminds me of?
Sure.
That Jordan, we did a review and it got compared the colorways to a Neapolitan ice cream bar.
Oh, yeah.
The Jordan Defy.
Yeah.
That's what these remind me of, with all the different material and...
Actually, they kind of do.
So I
Actually,
mean,
they really do
hello,
now.
like
Yeah.
that's very comparable. So that's what I'm saying, like these don't feel cheap.
Well, see, and the funny thing though is that some people will take that as, well, now Jordan Brand's being cheap because now they're doing... You can never please anybody.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. They don't feel cheap. Like I said, this is not your Walmart AND1.
And I love this.
Oh.
I wish our daughter was here because she's always like, Mom, is that iridescent or some other weird color?
Hollow.
Is it hollow? And I always get it wrong. And so I wish she was here so I could be like, Kara, what is it? But I love it.
I think it's cool. The thing I've seen stuff. Man, I wish I could talk about it.
He's seen some things.
And they are fire, dude. Like there's a couple of colorways where I'm just like, yo, those are dope. I hope that those release.
Do they keep this in there?
I can't say anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't say anything, man, because I don't want to like get anybody in trouble and stuff like that. But I've seen some cool shit, man, and it's surprising because it's AND1.